everybody. I'm Hillary Atkin from the Atkin Report, and I'm thrilled to welcome Andrew Leeds from ZOEY'S Extraordinary Playlist to this edition of Hillary's Happy Hour. Andrew, how are you doing?
Good. How are you?
Really good, thank you.
That's
I'm having
good.
fun watching season 2 of ZOEY'S, and
Yeah.
your character, David Clark, Zoe's older brother, has just joined a band and
Yeah.
learned how to play keyboard.
Yeah.
What has this whole journey been like for you?
You mean the whole of doing the whole show, or just the band?
Hey, start with the band and work backwards.
I mean, joining the band was really fun. The guy, the lead singer of the band, this guy Felix Mallard, is just a wonderful guy and a wonderful actor. He just I guess he's just been on the show called Georgia and Ginny maybe or something like that on Netflix, which has
Right.
become a huge thing. So, but couldn't it be a nicer, more humble, more talented guy? So that was really fun, and the other guys in the band were really fun. But it was just fun actually, like feeling we in episode the next episode we perform a gig, so it was fun to it was fun to sort of feel like I was in a band, I guess, to some degree. And it was also tricky because uh, the way that they do things, they record things first and then we perform them after. So they normally we sing and we lip sync to ourselves, but in this case, they have somebody playing the keyboard, and I can kind of play the keyboard, but I kind of play my own way. And in this case, I had to match very specifically what had been already recorded. So that was a little bit difficult, but it was fun, really really fun. Yeah,
What has
and
the
then
production been like since you guys went back to work and having to operate under COVID protocols?
it's actually been it was really no last year the first season I got sick a bunch of times, but I got a bunch of colds, and this season I didn't get sick at all. So there you go, because everybody's being super safe and wearing masks, and so in a way I actually think it was better for everybody because nobody got sick. We somehow managed to make it through without anybody actually getting uh, COVID, I believe. We certainly didn't have to shut down. And it was good. It was a lot more calm in a lot of ways because people were, we had to sort of, when people have masks on, it just means people are quieter, and it was a calm situation. It's a little sad because you don't get to interact with as many people as easily. So like you see crew members that normally you would hang out and have a conversation with, but you couldn't really do that as much this year. So
Well,
that was
let's
a little
talk
bit weird.
about some of your other great members. Talk to us about your relationship with Jane Levy as Zoe and also Alice Lee as your wife, Emily.
Well, I mean, they're both amazing. I mean, I get to spend a decent amount of time offset with everybody, and it is a really, really great group of people. But I get the benefit of spending a lot of time with Jane and Mary Steenburgen and Alice Lee, and they're all. I mean, we have such a good time together. It's so much fun. There's a lot of. It's very playful. A lot of messing with each other, especially me messing with Mary, which I really enjoy. And but yeah, Jane, I love Jane. We have a great relationship. Get to spend a decent amount of time on set, but then also just offset as well. And she just couldn't be lovelier, and I feel very connected to her in a way. And so it's really nice, and it's just really great acting with her. It's just really really fun. And same goes with Mary. I spent probably the most time with Mary. Offset. Last year I spent a lot of time with her and Peter, and this year obviously mostly with just Mary.
Right.
But and her husband, Mr. Ted Danson, who's also the kindest, nicest person.
I was going to ask you if he comes over to the set.
He does. Yeah, he was up in Vancouver for a while, so he couldn't go to the set this year because of COVID. But he was in Vancouver, and I saw him a decent amount. And they're both just the loveliest, most fun people, just like the best. And then Alice, I didn't get, I spent a little bit of time with her last year because we weren't in every episode. She was only in, six, I think, last year. But this year we were all there the entire time, so I got to spend a lot more time with her, and she's just awesome. She's so talented. she's such a great singer, such a great dancer, such a great actor, and so I feel very lucky that I got to have like such good scene partners. You know.
Well, you have had really an impressive television resume with roles on shows including Veep, Bones, Barry, Get Shorty, and Christella. Those are just some of many on your resume, but what have been some of your personal highlights?
Um, I, I, I feel like especially in the last like 5 years, I've gotten to do some just like stuff that I just like so proud of. So including Zoe's, which I think is such a special show and so different, and really taps into things that I really love, which is singing and dancing. So it's like it's nice that I get to do that on TV because that's very very rare that anyone would get to do that. But Barry certainly a huge highlight. A lot of these shows that I've gotten to be on, in addition to them being just excellent shows, Barry, Veep, uh, Get Shorty. Um, I was on the morning show like last year, which is also just a great show. I'd say like Veep and Barry and Get Shorty, just the best, nicest group of people. Like, people that they don't need to talk to me. And just couldn't have been more welcoming. I mean, we're talking about like Ray Romano, just the nicest guy in the world. Um, the people, Bill Hader and Alec Berg, who created the show, are just unbelievable. Like, just really, really down to earth, good people who uh, make you feel like they give you the opportunity to do your best work because they make you feel so comfortable and are so encouraging and make you feel like you're one of the group, even if you're just there for an episode. Henry Winkler. I mean, we're talking like some of the nicest people I've ever met. And same was true on Veep, like Julia Louis-Dreyfus and Tony Hale. These people were just like wonderful, creative, and just warm people. So it's been really nice to get to be on shows that I love, and then find out that the people who make them are also awesome. So yeah, I feel very lucky.
Well, you mentioned Alec Berg, and I know you were on Silicon Valley as well,
Yeah,
another one of my favorite comedies, along with
yeah.
Veep and Barry. But I also want to talk about you mentioned this, but let's talk about your musical history background, including your work on Broadway.
What do you want to talk about?
Well,
Well,
let's
actually,
hear
it's funny.
about it.
Alec
I don't
Berg.
think many people know that about you.
No, so when I was a kid, I did some shows on Broadway, and actually I did the show Les Mis when I was 10 to when I was 12 or something like that. Nine,
Wow.
yeah, 10 to 12, something like that. And the one of the women in it, who at the time was, I don't know, 22, was a woman named Michelle Micah, who is now Michelle Berg and married to Alec Berg. Just strange small world. But yeah. So as a kid, I did a show. I did Les Mis for a while. I did a show called Falsettos, which was a musical on Broadway that is one of my favorite musicals, and I was so happy and excited to get to be a part of that, and still like one of my favorite. Oh, here, one of my favorite experiences of all time. Here's a picture.
Oh, wow. Look at that.
Anyway,
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
so I got to do that, and then I did another show called Teddy and Alice, which only ran for a little while, and I did an opera that Carly Simon wrote for the Metropolitan Opera Guild. That was also just a cool experience getting to work with her, and even though as a kid I had no idea who she was, but now I do.
And what
um,
about the Groundlings, the famed LA improv comedy troupe?
yeah, that's been also just an incredible experience. When I first got to LA, I went to see a show because I'd heard of them. It wasn't something I was like ever necessarily that interested in, sketch comedy or improv. It was, I just went, and I could probably because I had heard that Will Ferrell had been there and been a Groundling, Maya Rudolph, and at that time a lot of people that would go on to be, there were a lot of people that had been there already, but But then when I went to go see the show, the people that were in the Sunday company, which is the company before the main company, were people like Melissa McCarthy and Kristen Wiig and Jim Rash and Nat Faxon, and all these people that went on to have these amazing careers. And I went to see a show and I saw these people and I was like, oh my gosh, like, I mean, I saw Melissa McCarthy in the Sunday company. I was like, oh well, there's no hope for any of us because that's the funniest thing I've ever seen ever. So, but what I really liked about it was how they really the really great groundlings I have found have the ability to really transform into another person, into another character when they're on stage in a way that you kind of only get to see people like Meryl Streep do in movies, or Tom Hanks, like where they get to like really become someone else. And I thought, wow, well, that's what a great opportunity to get to practice that skill, to get to play a 75-year-old man or to play a 10-year-old kid or whatever it is. And so I started taking classes there because I thought, okay, this will be a great way for me to learn how to do that. And then I actually just got to a certain level and I got too scared thinking I would never get in. So I stopped for like 10 years and continued to pursue writing and acting and things like that. And then I wrote a pilot for NBC, and one of the Groundlings came into audition, this guy named Ryan Gall, and he was like, you should, like, why don't you go back and try to finish the rest of the curriculum and see how far you get. And him, along with a few other people, encouraged me, which was really awesome. And so I went back and did that, and ultimately somehow got into the company. And it's a really wonderful thing to be able to do, to be able to try all sorts of crazy things on stage and really stretch and grow and fail. And and with a wonderful group of people who are also so creatively inspiring to me.
I look forward to it. That's always such a wonderful thing to even be in the audience at the Groundlings. And I look forward to everyone being able to be at stage shows again and,
You'll have to
filling up
come.
movie theaters more. But in the meantime, we have great entertainment at home, like Zoe's Extraordinary Playlist and finishing up the second season. I want to raise a toast to you, Andrew, for
I'll
your
raise a toast to
continued
you.
success on Zoe's and with everything you're doing with your character. It's been a fun ride.
It has been a fun ride. I appreciate you watching the show. I hope more people tune in. It's really special and really, it's not like anything else on TV. So
And that's a good thing. So
yeah,
thanks so much for joining me.
thank
Cheers.
you for having me. Cheers.